was a finale few envisaged, but it's still thrown up plenty of material for the 360 agenda. The Hawks revel in premiership celebrations after the awesome dominance of Saturday. Our own Jordan Lewis will join us. The savage fallout for the Swans after a diabolical performance on the day that matters most. The football world moves on swiftly as the posturing and positioning of the trade period stokes up. For the last time in 2014, I'm Gerard Whateley, he's Mark Robinson. This Monday night, it's footy from all angles. Hello, Robbo.
Hello, Gerard.
I need one more hour from you, Robbo. I need one good hour.
You'll get it.
Have you got it?
Yeah, I've got it. And I'm a bit tired. It was a pretty big weekend, but yeah, it's sad that it's coming to an end, but I probably won't see you till next February or whenever we start.
Might bump into each other at the races.
No, you work at the races.
That's true.
That's social
we've got
time for
good
me.
Giveaways, goodies to give away.
I'll hold it up. This is like my main job this year.
10 copies.
There you go.
Of the grand final DVD up for grabs tonight. Just use the hashtag AFL360 and simply share your favourite moment from the game. And it might be something that happened in the game, or it might be something that you experienced.
Have you got one in your head? If I asked you off the top.
Off the top, I had this. The moment with 12 and a half minutes left in the second quarter, and I've forgotten which goal it was exactly. Finished calling it, looked up and saw 12 and a half minutes left and thought, it's over before the halfway mark of the second quarter. Yeah. And it took me back to 1995 when Carlton and Geelong played a game which was well built up, maybe not quite as much as this. And I was a Geelong fan just watching, and you knew in the first quarter that they hadn't shown up.
They just didn't turn up, did they?
It was startling how quick it was over.
Yeah, it was. It was brutal. It was stunning. My favourite bit was when the young fella said, "You're my hero."
Yes, so we'll get to that shortly. Yeah, that's
because it sent everyone back to their childhood. Because all children have heroes, and football players are their heroes, and for it to be Luke Hodge, just a mighty, mighty, mighty footballer.
There were so many heroes.
Yeah.
Leave the obvious aside and choose me a Monday hero.
Mine's Matt Spanger.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons. A little bit self-indulgent, but if you look at this bloke, have a look at him. He's like a medieval sort of monster. He looks 50. You know, he's got a big honker. He's got long hair. But he's loved. To see the players cheer when he went up, and I was in the rooms, Gerard, and I wrote this morning.
This is nice.
And it's just a fantastic place to be, the rooms, and I'm standing there, and this older man come up to me and said, "Can you write a story about my son?" And I said, "What's your name?" He said, Enzo Spanger. And he introduced me to his wife, June. You could feel, it's hard to describe. The sense of pride bursting out of their bodies as they were talking about their son was like overwhelming.
Yep.
I wanted to hug him. I wanted to hug him and say, "Oh, well done, I'm so happy for you." And just spoke of the journey, and we all know it. He's a wonderful story, Matthew Spanger, and you know, you can talk about perseverance and all that sort of stuff, but he finally got there.
Yes.
He got there and he got the medal. It was just wonderful.
Brian Lake said in the aftermath that Matt Spanger introduces himself as 3-time listed premiership player.
Now he's a premiership player. What about you?
Around. Well, every family club should have a blue blood, and that's Will Langford, who over the last 5 weeks has grown into the name and he's grown into his game. And he was kicking the Cyril-style goals.
Yeah, he was.
In his first 12 or 14 games, he'd shown no inkling that he could be this player. I think he'd kicked 2 goals in 15 matches. He's kicked 7 in his past 5, and the 2 best goals of the day.
Look at that.
Profoundly influential from that night game against Geelong, and this moment of solitude to try to make sense of it, I'm sure, to take it all in. And the son of a commissioner, you know, premiership icon that Chris Langford was. It was beautiful to observe his journey over the last month and a bit of the season.
Yeah, it was, mate. Couldn't agree with you more.
Let's just stay with the grand final as we get into the agenda, and rarely have we seen a lopsided grand final like this in recent years. It was a shock, it was a surprise. Trying to make sense of it has been one of the things in the 48 hours that have followed. So, Robbo, just your overall impression of it.
Well, like everyone, Jed, I went to the game thinking we've got 2 hard-at-it teams. One team One team was hostile. That first quarter, I can't remember a team applying so much pressure to another team, to another good team, a great team. And to see Sydney wilt under that pressure and just not so much panic, they just didn't have any time to do anything. They didn't have time to think. Hawthorn were just all over them. You know, and I joke about this team all the time. I say, you know, they said, how do you stop Farlap? You know, you give them weights. How do you stop football teams? You just apply pressure. Pressure will get you. And their pressure was just immense. Calling it, Jared, I would imagine that the people with you would have been screaming over you. The pressure's unbelievable in this first quarter. If one Hawthorn player missed a tackle, there was another one there, and if that one got sort of escaped out of, there was another one already on the move to close down that exit out of not a stoppage, just a fight on the ground. It was extraordinary, and as it went on, mate, to see the likes of Mitchell and Hodge, I'll talk about them two first if I can. They were greats. They're now legends. They're three-time premiership players. Sam Mitchell's been a decade-long star of this competition, and he stood up again on the biggest day. Luke Hodge, you know, there's very few players who are admired as much as Luke Hodge. It's as simple as that. The way he goes about it, the way he plays, how humble he is, how just a country boy who gives it all. He's an inspiring figure in the game, Luke Hodge. And when people talk about leadership, which all clubs do, you look at him and say, God, Hawthorn, maybe you were fortunate to get him. But you took him at number one, and he's probably turned up now to be perhaps your third greatest player of all time, fourth. I mean, he's in the bracket of Matthews, Hudson, Dunstall. He's approaching that realm, and it was just an amazing team and club performance.
Yep.
A team doesn't win, a club wins premierships.
It was a premiership magnificently won, given all they had to come through across the course of a season. And I think to roll out something near perfection in terms of what they've been building towards on the day that mattered most, that was really something. So not an epic match, but always an epic day with a story to tell, best told through the eyes of the brown and gold and one of their greats, Dermott Brereton.
This great team, the best team of the modern era of the last 50 years, produces its masterpiece. They've never been better than this. This year they're up against it, and I applied logic to having the tip today and thought, it's going to be tough for them. They can pinch it. There's a logical reason why they can win. I never saw this coming. I thought it would be a fantastic win if they could pinch it. It was better than that. They dismantled Sydney, and Sydney won't be... You know, they're proud to get there, but they won't be proud of it. Oh, danger! Cut off! Hodge will kick a second. He does. The captain kicks the 10th. He can feel that cup in his hands, I reckon.
Had to confront a fair few challenges throughout the course of the year, both as a playing group, in terms of the injury toll at different stages, especially to key players, but also to the coaching group, and just different challenges we had to confront throughout the whole of the year, and to overcome them and get a victory on grand final day is a very, very special feeling for our footy club.
Hawthorn this year, they're a wonderful team, but adversity struck them every 5 minutes, and somehow they come through in a game where they probably shouldn't have won going into the game, but they did. It's the most extraordinary club, the most extraordinary win. Everyone thinks their club's the best club. Today, Hawthorn people have a chance to actually say it, believe it, be it.
This has been as impressive a premiership performance I've ever seen.
That's icing on a cake, isn't it?
Brutal, relentless pressure and precision, and just the way they went about it was just took your breath away.
They just kept the foot down and they didn't slow up, and whenever we got a goal they'd answer back and then some, and that's what good teams do, and they're probably a bit beyond a good team now. They're a great team.
Here's your siren, listen to the noise.
There it is. I've never been more proud. It is extraordinary to win, and for that reason, I am so proud to be a Hawthorn person.
The emotion pouring
great.
through from a man who should know it well.
Well done for putting that package together, boys. That was just... It gets me quite emotional, actually, just listening to people like Dermot and talking about it. It may be the club's greatest premiership.
It felt like that as we left on Saturday night.
It did. And I wrote that. I said, arguably it is, and I don't know the answer to that question. Hawthorn people can decide. Their first under Graham Martha, huge, mate. The first ever. But to do it this year with everything that's gone wrong, it was just, I don't know what words to use. It was just magnificent.
Okay, a couple of the trigger points. You've touched on Luke Hodge, but
Ask me
what's
again.
it done for Hodge's legacy?
Oh, it's massive.
It's enshrined his legend, hasn't it?
Yeah, he was already a great. He was. This has stamped it. Everyone's just so happy for him as well. Like, you get what... Luke ball time in this. You get what you earn in this game. You're good to the game will be good to you. This guy was a tubby boy from Colac and he went number 1 and everyone said they should have gone Judd. Didn't worry him. He just went through. He'd have a couple of beers, Hodgie. He's an old-time footballer, played in an old-time sort of fashion. You know, he's just rough and tumble and he's got this knack, and it's not a knack because it can't be coincidence. He does so many great things in a game of football, it can't be coincidence. You know, his town would be proud. I mean, even this, kissing Buddy, he's just that knockabout. You know, I joked today, I don't know if I can say this, I said, you know, men want to be him and women want to take him out for dinner. That's just a great line. Number 2, let me ask you.
Access to the Hall of Fame.
What does it say about Alistair Clarkson?
Oh, it says without question he's peerless in the class of coaches. In this era, I think. What he's built, and he built it first from scratch, and then he remodelled it after they won their first flag, and then he fortified it so that it wasn't at the mercy of any individual. They lost their highest profile player, they lost him for a period of time, and still what he's built endured. And you can preach these things, but then you can live them, and they know it's the truth now. They've lived through a year where everyone at Hawthorn knows what Clarkson has built is a truth. And it can't be credibly argued any longer that there's any other coach above Clarkson in the pecking order. What did you make of Buddy versus the Hawks? Because this was the one bit of the billing that absolutely lived up.
Oh, it did. I thought Buddy was probably their best player. You know, Malcheski played well. I thought Reece Shaw played pretty well, but Buddy still had that... When he got near the ball, there was that sense of something was going to happen, and he didn't let us down. He kicked 4-2. But 44 entries to 65 or whatever it was, this was a great mark, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they went after him. Brian Lake was just a little pain in the arse all day to him. Josh Gibson, his mate, went after him. But he kept on standing up, Buddy. He kept on presenting, he kept on pushing. Kurt Tippett had a poor game. It really was Buddy or nothing in the forward line, which Sydney are going to have to address somehow. Fix their small forwards instead of just getting the sort of midfielders rotating through there. But Buddy was fine, mate. I didn't walk away thinking any less of Buddy Franklin on Saturday. How dirty will the Swans be?
Filthy. And John Longmire gave words to it in the aftermath. They never gave themselves a chance. It was startling that this is probably the worst game the Swans have played in 5 years as a club, and that it came in such a moment. And it'll have ramifications, it has to. It doesn't unpick all that they did throughout the year, but there'll be a question of will he trust certain people in big games from here?
Yeah, that's what these sort of games do. I mean, the question mark
grand finals
on Lewis Jetta, there has to be. That footage there, again, because we were working at the game, I haven't seen all the Postmate. Isn't that really admirable for John Longmire? He would have sought out Alistair Clarkson, there's no doubt, and go up to Luke Hodge. Just as the respect Hodge has got and the class of John Longmire. No, some of them, and I don't want to sit here and kick Sydney out, kick them in the heads. But the facts are facts, Jared. They turn up on the biggest day, and they didn't turn up.
No.
And they've got to work out why and who and what went through it. Jared McVeigh has been lauded for his leadership. And halfway through the second quarter, when you looked out and it was 12:38 gone, I bet you someone in your box said, "Where is Jared McVeigh?" you know, and that's just the facts of life. Where were the leaders? You can't win finals without leaders.
Yep.
And Hawthorn had them all, and Sydney were bereft.
So what for Adam Goodes from here? And clearly
I'm a bit
the worst
confused.
moment of the day was when he was booed so roundly in the last quarter, and we as the community need to actually assess what the hell we're doing.
I just don't like
As a
it.
people, what on earth are we doing?
I feel a bit ashamed, to be honest,
Yeah,
Jared.
it was an awful moment.
And we've spoken about this a couple of times during the year. He doesn't deserve to be booed. Even if he dies, we know he dies, he doesn't deserve to be booed. It annoys me. I'm embarrassed for him, and I'm ashamed of... I hate it. I hate it. You know what? I'm confused with Goodsy. They tell me that some people tell me he's retiring. Others say he's going on. I don't know the answer. He played all right in the last 2 weeks. I thought he was okay on the weekend. 6. How lovely was the post match?
This is becoming better every year. First things first is Jason Dunstall's presence. This was perfect.
Yeah.
This was absolutely perfect, given we know the role that Jason has played in the building of this dynasty, and now that he's stepped away, to see him up there as a legend of the club, this further enhanced his place at Hawthorn, and that he was up there for it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
And then there are a whole sequence of things that happened, but the one you mentioned with the Little Tacker and Luke Hodge, this is iconic from the day.
You're my hero. Thank you.
How good's that?
That's fantastic.
That's footy. That is footy. I know, you know, another image, and I haven't spoken to anyone about it, but when Alistair Clarkson and Brendan Bolton got on the fence with a cup, feeding him, what Brendan Bolton gave to football this year in those 5 weeks, it was enjoyable. It was enlightening to see a person, and Clarkson could be one of the crankiest people in footy, but he almost come back from his illness a different person. There's that image. I mean, look at Brendan Bolton. I'm just so happy for him because he gave us happiness, and Clarkson just enjoyed it so much with him.
Great stuff.
Look at that.
So the last one, as an event, not as a football match.
Yep.
It seems like the grand final is really hitting its straps, I reckon. I thought Saturday's presentation was first class.
Yeah, I thought the build-up was great. Yeah, I was there. The champs going around. I'd like them to be a bit closer to the start because people are still filing into the ground, but they were big stars, mate. That's a big stars. And Tom Jones. I didn't. Did you sing along?
He's still got it, Tom. So he's not mine, but that's fine. People enjoyed it a lot. Ed Sheeran, he was a bit of a no-brainer. Ed, he did exactly what you thought he'd do.
What was that?
His presence was good. He's just good, solid pop. Ed
I liked Olivia Newton-John. I get all sort of nostalgic on the grand final day. And when they roll out Olivia Newton-John, like, is Ed Sheeran Australian?
No.
Right.
No.
I didn't think so.
No.
So we got Tom Jones, Ed Sheeran, a couple of overseas acts, but when Olivia gets up, she's ours. It's Australia. I thought that. I like it. I liked it as well.
Yeah,
it's a great event.
It was good. All right. Now, what we've been probably looking forward to most, the chance to head to Hawthorn, to the Hawks Museum, where the history of the club is on display, and join a 3-time premiership player. He's unashamedly one of ours. Jordan Lewis, welcome to AFL 360.
Thanks, boys. It's still good to be a part of the show.
Oh, we're revelling in it. Hey, what's the single best thing that's happened since you won the flag?
It's hard to point out one thing, and I suppose you get caught up in the moment a bit, but I was fortunate enough not fortunate enough, but I went for breakfast this morning and got yesterday's papers and today's papers and just sat there for 2 hours and read through all the news, and I think it's not until then I understood what we as a side have achieved over the last couple of years. But it's always nice to sit back and sort of, it jogs your memory. You read through the articles and especially photos and relive the moment a little bit.
Should you have won the Norm Smith, Geordie?
No, as you saw in the voting, Robbo, it was very close. It probably could have gone either way, but I don't think you'd have one person arguing with Hodgie. He was, I think, probably the most influential player on the ground, and he managed to hit the scoreboard as well, which he's managed to do throughout the season.
Who's been the most influential person off the field in the last 2 days?
Probably Matty Spanger. He seems to be. You think you find it's always the guys that experience experienced their first premiership, who probably go the hardest a little bit too early, and it certainly bites them in the bum the next day. So, as Shawnee Burgon, I think, tweeted, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
I spoke to Enzo and June Spanger in the rooms after the game, and the beauty of being in the winning rooms is a lot of parents are in there, and clearly there's a close relationship between all the parents as well.
Yeah, that's the reason why we call ourselves a family club, and it's not just a throwaway line for membership or anyone like that. We still love having ex-players down, even ex-players' partners down. You'll obviously see Dulcie Kennedy down here at different parts, and I think they're at the function the other night. But we've got a really good group of guys, and a lot of the values that we see in our players obviously comes from the parents, and why not bring them into the frame when we have a win such as the grand final on Saturday, and everyone can enjoy it together. But they're the first people you want to get in the rooms. You want to celebrate it with everyone that's been along the journey with you, and everyone that was there on Saturday. Certainly the parents were just enjoying the atmosphere.
Just a couple of questions about the game. How gratifying is it to play exceptionally well personally in such an important game?
Yeah, I suppose going into the game, the reason why players get nervous is you're going to a little bit of the unknown. You don't know how the game will pan out and how you will perform on the big stage, and it's always nice to sit back after a game and just have a think about and say to yourself that you played your role within the side on the biggest stage of the year, and that was probably the most satisfying thing. I don't think we had one passenger on Saturday, and everyone could hold their head up really high. Even when Taylor Duray came on with not too long in the game, he still wanted to be a part of it and contribute to what was a good win on Saturday. But you don't get those performances too often. We obviously strive to play that well every week, but sometimes for one reason or another you can't put that performance out on a week-to-week basis. But certainly on Saturday it was probably the best game I've been a part of all year.
I'm curious, does the match itself make sense to you? Because the biggest grapple on the outside is trying to understand how there was a 10.5 goal margin between the two best teams at the end of the season.
Yeah, I suppose it doesn't make sense at the moment, but when I think about the game and when I look back and try and remember parts of it, I think our pressure was outstanding. We've obviously got a really good attacking side to our game, but I think one thing that probably gets overshadowed in that is our defensive side of our game, and when we apply that pressure and have that attitude in terms of putting the opposition under pressure, we'd be one of the best one of the best sides in the competition, and that just flows on to our offence. And when you're seeing the first 10 minutes, you feel out there that as a side we've brought our A game in our defensive side of our game on the weekend.
It was more than an A-grade game though, Louis. That was the most intense I've seen a team go in an opposition team. It was just layer and layer and layer of pressure. And it wasn't just the tackling. If one Hawk missed a tackle, there was a second one there to get it, and there was a third one, there was a fourth one. Did you have a sense when you were out there that you were playing, I suppose, beyond your ability, if that makes sense?
I think I had a sense that we're playing up to our ability. We always know we've got the ability to put that sort of performance out, but you're exactly right. Whenever it felt like they were getting a little bit of a run on something or someone influential happened in the contest, whether it be a smother, a tackle, the ball bounced away of our players instead of theirs, it just seemed that we controlled the game for all 4 quarters, which was probably really pleasing because as good side, and don't take nothing away from Sydney are obviously in the grand final for a reason, but we just didn't allow them to get their game going. And I think it's a credit because we came in at half-time and really wanted to reset ourselves and make sure that we won the third quarter, and we did that, and then reset ourselves again at three-quarter time. And if you break the game down like that, it's a lot easier to keep yourself in the game rather than think about the game in its entirety.
How's your eye come up, or your cheekbone?
Yeah, not too bad. It was funny when I went down into the dungeon and got it stitched up. The doc said, "Geez, that looks good," and then I sort of had to come back because it was still bleeding. So obviously didn't do a good job at the start, but he reckons it's come up really well. So Lucy, my fiancée, will be happy.
Who done it? Who got you?
I can't remember, to be honest. I didn't. I felt either an elbow or a knee below the eye, but I can't remember who it was.
No, I think you're hanging out. You've got to get in harder for the ball, Louis. That's your problem.
Well, that's the. I've never. Clarko always speaks about you got to bleed for the team on occasions, and I've never actually been cut up in any part of my body. So I might be like Hodgie, just a little scar in there might just keep opening up, and I might look tougher than I play.
It seems about right that you'll have a scar for the wedding pictures. Hey, last one. What does it mean to you to be a triple premiership player?
Oh, listen, I think you enter in a different sort of conversation. It's it's always nice to play in premierships, but I think to achieve what we've achieved this year with everything that's sort of happened throughout the year, as a side, we didn't really blink when Clarko went out. Bolts came in and did a really good job, even when Mitch and Gibbo and these sort of guys spent large chunks of the season out of the side. It was business as usual, and I think to play in a side to go back-to-back, which hasn't been done obviously since Brisbane did it, is a really special effort, and it's something that we'll sit back over the next couple of days and really enjoy, but we just want it again, so no doubt when all the beers stop flowing and we stop celebrating, we'll firmly set our sights on 2015 and try and make the best impact we can on that season.
Well, Jordan, thanks for sharing the journey of the year with us. We couldn't be more proud of you. If that sounds a bit silly, we feel like we have a little bit of a stake in it. Congratulations, good luck with the wedding, and see you back on the field next year.
Thanks, guys, and I've really enjoyed my time, obviously coming in on a Tuesday night and hanging out with you two blokes and obviously Murph as well, so hopefully we can do it again next year and enjoy some sort of success again.
Jordan Lewis with us on AFL 360.
Going to the wedding?
You're off.
Oh, I'm going. I got invited. Why didn't he invite you?
No, he's more your sort of man, isn't he? Mark Thompson and Paul Roos to look into the grand final, and they're key players in the period that's about to unfold in the football world as well. So Roosie and Bomber up next, but a chance to relive from a few different angles the goal of the grand final.
Kennedy receives a hand pass under pressure from Parker. Parker's under pressure. It's kept alive. Langford's got his third goal of the grand final.
Kennedy back there in Hawthorn's forward pocket. Parker gets back to help out. Pushed off his kick. Langford's got it. Oh, surely not. He can't have kicked the goal from there. He has.
Kennedy goes to the ground. Langford applies the pressure, and again there's that pressure. Langford getting through the ball. Might go through. An extraordinary goal from the boundary line.
Something from nothing.
It's the handball to Joey Kennedy. Langford over the top of him, right forward pocket. Parker again. Here comes the heat from Burgoyne. Langford, little short 1-0. Langford, you can't kick it from there. Bugger off. Langford's got a couple.
We've only had words once.
Yeah, once.
When? Over Mumford.
He wasn't playing. That's what I said to him.
No, he would have
That's
been playing.
exactly what I said. Thanks, Robert.
And that's what just said to Shane. I'll play you, Shane.
Did you guys do this at training? Push
That
around
looks like fun, doesn't it?
What is that? I did that at Coles the other week in the grocery.
I did. I seen it. I was about to have a yawn and put my arms up and have a stretch. And I thought, I looked up and I seen myself on TV, so I go, no.
Did you see yourself up on the screen?
There was two screens, and there's one with a replay.
Yeah, and you saw yourself and went, be honest.
Stevie, you'd say, Stevie, can you please stop doing it? You say, yeah, not stop. What do you mean? Eat the cheeseburger. That's Brucey's burger, mate, not yours.
Not now, it's not. I'm singing the Beverly Hills theme song.
Why not sing the Melbourne Football Club theme song?
Yeah, that's no. I've got to get those words changed.
Yeah, you got to get the word changed.
That's embarrassing. There he goes.
I was just glad I got a chance to sing it, Robbo.
You're better looking than Robbo.
That's not hard. Can you show that a few more times for me? Or what are you trying to rub salt in the wounds, Robbo?
Are you talking to?
I was on delay there. It must be on delay.
You're quite funny. At the start of the year, Jared said just work with him a bit. He's not that funny.
I think it's been the best part of AFL 360 this year,
well
from
done.
my perspective anyway. Paul Roos, welcome.
Evening.
Mark
Hello,
Thompson,
Rosie.
good to have you again.
That's good, very funny. Do you know the words of the song now?
Actually, a guy from Beverly Hills rang into the club and said, "I'm with Rosie."
they're gonna
It's
change
exactly
it.
the same. No, Melbourne's not going to change it. I hope Beverly Hills changes it to Melbourne.
Were you a bit startled by what happened on Saturday?
Oh, I think we all were. You know, there's no question. Being there live, I think at one point in the game, you probably just had to watch it from a Hawthorn point of view, didn't you? Because they were just exceptional.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it stunned everyone. Not that Hawthorn. I think most people, not most, but probably Swans going favourites, weren't they, from memory? But gee, you would never have predicted an 11-goal loss.
How do you teach or tell your players that's the level of pressure we've got to? You may not even get to that. That was incredible. Aspire to. Both is. How do
Hey, well, I didn't think they'd be able to keep the pressure up. Nearly the whole first quarter, wasn't it? Every time Swans got the ball, they were just bang on them.
I think the Roughhead tackle on Hanbury.
Hanbury got
probably
mauled.
more the other way, Robbo. Like, if you go back to 2012, the Swans had, there it is there, Swans had 100-plus tackles. So the surprising thing probably wasn't the fact that Hawthorn were tackling, I think they had 22 or something in the first quarter, but it was more that Sydney didn't respond.
They had more tackles than Sydney in the game.
Yeah, 7 tackles they had in the first quarter, the Swans. That was probably the surprising thing of it. Because I think Hawthorn, everyone talks about Hawthorn's ball movement, which was was first class, but they've been a good pressure side now for many, many years.
How did Longmire coach against it, or how can you coach against that?
Well, you've got to bring your own pressure for a start. I think the thing that Hawthorn were unbelievable was their ball movement, Bomber.
Yeah.
Was just, there was a kick, was it Liam Shields off the left?
Burgo into Shields around the corner into Gunston.
Normally the Swans are very good at closing uncontested possession.
Yeah, you didn't see the Swans players too close to them, close enough.
No, not close enough.
That's they probably should have done. They should have just tried to close and stop the game a bit more, and then just get your breath, because they look like Johnny would have spent the whole day trying to get them up and about and confident and playing, but it just didn't happen, did it?
Is it a mental thing? We've seen Sydney play some brutal football. Is it a mental lapse? Explain it. Explain what happens. How a tough team doesn't commit, and Hawthorn, who was a tough team, probably went overs.
The Swans gave them something they didn't want. Yeah, the Hawks gave the Swans something.
Which is what?
It was like time with the ball. They wanted time with the ball, and they never got it.
Yeah.
They looked like they were just coughing it up, like handballing to someone who was under as much pressure.
I reckon it's a good point, Bob, because last year, if you go back to... And we're all looking for things. I mean, Hawthorn were exceptional, but I think, remember last year, the prelim against Freo, they looked really tired, the Swans, and there were some similarities between that game. Now, I can't answer why, because you're not involved in the football club, but I think your point's right, Bomber. Hawthorn give themselves a chance to have a breather, because they hold on to the football so well. So they actually slow the game down. They get a breather, and then they reset again. Just didn't look like Sydney could get a breather at all, did it, during the game?
Was it the perfect game?
It was pretty good game. Yeah,
they kicked goals. The pressure was immense. They had breathing space. All their runners got on the end of handballs. All of them. It was like 175 to 105 handball received.
How many times, Robbo, did you see a handball just go out and then your bloke's just streaming past, hit him on the chest?
Yeah.
It was, I think, and I'll say this because I haven't been over the records, but I don't think a favourite's been beaten by that much, 11 goals. So from that point of view, I reckon Hawthorn's grand final was the best grand final performance I've seen.
Yeah. You know, we shouldn't have underestimated, and I did, because I thought Sydney were going to win by a lot. The fact that they beat them in a grand final 2 years ago. Like, we know when you've been beaten by a team, like I said it, like when Hawthorn beat us in 2008, like they should never, ever beat us again.
Does it eat?
Oh, yeah.
Just to see that then it eats away?
Yeah, but they talked a bit about that after the game, I think the Hawks guys as well. Just,
Did they?
I think they said the respect for Sydney, but they didn't want to get beaten twice.
So why do you coaches lie to us when we ask you about, does the last time, does the 2012 count? And people go, nah, that's forgotten.
That's rubbish, because I've said on
have said
on
it?
record,
Yeah, but you do have a tendency to say what's on your mind, but I'm not saying you.
I mean, the grand final's different, though. I think generally a home and away game, you know, if you're playing the same team in the grand final, I mean, we played back-to-back 05-06 against the Eagles. Yeah. It is hard to beat the same team, 2 years in a row. We went down by a point. So, but general home and away games don't really, that's not that big a deal.
When a team has let themselves down so badly and you're the coach, do you have to be a bit careful? I imagine John Longmire was steaming angry, and particularly with individuals. Do you have to be careful to temper that, or do you actually act on it, knowing that you are going into big games in the future and the level of trust can never be what it was?
I reckon both, Bomber, but you've got to be careful relationships don't get fractured after a game like that. I think that's probably, I haven't spoken to John since, but I reckon it's almost his biggest challenge directly after that game. Your greatest fear is getting belted in a grand final. You know, again, going back to 06 when we were 30 points down at half time, as well as trying to get the game back on level terms, you're thinking, geez, if we go down by 60 or 70 points here. So, Gerard, I think it's just that combo, Bomber, isn't it?
You can't afford that, Ruzi, could you? You couldn't afford to go crazy.
Nah, not at all.
Post-game, the week after, or trade or delist.
Do they need to be told? They know, don't they? They're a professional mob. They know they've let themselves down.
I would think, I'd be staggered to think they'd give anyone a spray, but it's probably at the immediate time trying to lock that memory in that we don't want to feel like that again, or maybe some key moments, and you might even focus on Hawthorn and what they did as opposed. You certainly don't want to fracture relationships because it's a pretty, very, very emotional time.
We're giving DVDs away tonight, asking people their favourite moment. So we asked you just to provide a moment that grabbed you one way or another. What really grabbed you from the day?
Oh, look, I got there at about 1:30, and there's nothing that compares to an AFL grand final.
I thought you were going to say Tom Jones.
No, I was really fortunate when I retired to go around the world. Really fortunate. I went to the Super Bowl, I went to the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, Wimbledon, French Open, and I've said this since. There's nothing that compares to an AFL grand. The only thing that did was a Mike Tyson fight in Vegas, but it's the first bounce. The first bounce for me, when you're just sitting in your seat and the ball goes in the air and the crowd just absolutely goes ballistic. That's the thing that I most like.
As a fan, you sit there and go, now what in the hell is going to happen now?
Now, what is going to happen now? Because none of us know. I mean, we all think we're experts, but none of us really know.
I was surprised.
What did you choose? Bit of Hodgie magic?
Yeah, I thought Hodgie was fantastic in the day. Like all their old boys. You know, these guys got drafted in 2002, Lewis and him, and when was Mitchell? Probably not there. Just the intercept. That was a great moment.
That was the moment. That deflated the game. That was the end.
It was,
That moment. 2 in a row. I think Gerard said he looked up the scoreboard. It was 12:38. I said that might have been the moment.
Yeah, no, you could sense that in the ground, couldn't you? It was just sort of deflating.
From afar, I can't answer this question. Someone said to me, "Who's better, the Geelong team or the Hawthorn team?" I said, I don't want to go there.
No, it's hard.
They've won 3 each.
Difficult. They've won 3 each.
Their games have been so tight all along.
Yeah. I think you got to appreciate each game for what it's worth. I mean, to go back to back's fantastic.
What a great cover that is.
It's the Geelong Addy tomorrow.
How great is that?
Fight, Bomber.
Yeah.
I can't separate.
Geelong.
I can't separate. What did you say?
Geelong.
So is that taking out the 3 that Brisbane? Are we just comparing those two?
Yes, I think we're just comparing those.
Because I mean, Brisbane's 3 in a row, and then so I don't like comparing eras and games, and they're all so different.
Might ask you an easier question. Is Alistair Clarkson the best coach in the competition?
You'd have to say so. I mean,
and he's so
I think people forget where they were. People look at them as a juggernaut. People forget where they actually were when he took over. You know, and he was under as much pressure as any of us, Bomber. Like, when he first started, and then Kennett gave it to him a bit. Was it the start of year before last or whenever it was? I can't remember. I just think if you remember where they were a really poor team, building team, young team for probably 2 or 3 years. Everyone looks at him now, but it's hard to build a team from scratch like he's done.
He's a 3 premiership 10-year coach.
He's a good coach.
I don't want to say he's a better coach than you two because you've won flags with Bomber, you won 2, but I look at this bloke and think to myself, he's changed the way his team plays 3 times.
Yeah.
Like he's had, which has changed the entire competition. That the Clarko cluster changed the game.
Yeah, they've gone from being the zoning team now to one-on-one defensive team pretty much, and ball movement. The spreading that they spread the field so well.
This is what I want to hear. Why is he a great coach?
He's an innovator.
He said early, he called it early, that you're going to have a supreme attacking game to beat the good defensive, setups that all clubs have now got. So
he's also got a real trust in his players. I mean, if you watch their back line, they'll take anyone, which is hard to do. You've got to have real trust. You got Hodge spoiling Franklin at one stage.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. You got Lake running around last week on a couple of Need and blokes like that.
That game against Fremantle during the year, when there was the big build-up, and they absolutely smashed them with their quickness of ball use. Wasn't just quick and direct. It was just keepings off quick.
So do you guys look at that now? Sorry, I know we're in time. Do you guys look at that now? And you're sort of coached like that anyway. Yeah. And I'm not having to go, but you're probably not. You're going to have to improve your ball movement and scoring.
Yeah.
Do you show your players what Hawthorn can do? Or do you just think that they've seen it? Do you reference it in any way?
I think you've got to start at the start. Their hardness, because people, and what you've got to say to your players, the only way you can get to that level is if you're going to be that hard. So teams will always evolve in different concepts in terms of defence and offence. But the thing I like to talk about is the one constant, Bomber. What's the one constant when you look at grand final teams? They're hard.
They're the hardest
They're
teams.
hard and they're tough. They're ferocious and they tackle. Because there's some good ball movement teams out there that are never going to play like Hawthorn.
Your team's not hard enough. Your team's not hard enough at this stage, are you?
No, absolutely.
We're hard
You're getting better. You're getting better, but to sustain it
we're also not good enough that if we move the ball as quick as Hawthorn, that we wouldn't have players set up. So they're off, like where they're running.
So they're even thinking quicker. They do everything quicker, don't they?
Yeah. Right, I've got to ask the futures questions
for
the time being.
I want to talk about the game.
I want to talk about the game, Jared.
No.
You answer the question.
Have you in fact now been approached by another club?
No, I have not.
Definitely not?
Definitely not, no. I've heard lots of rumours though. Like everyone, but I have not spoken to any club. I actually didn't answer the phone today at all. I didn't know who was ringing me.
Are you still intending to stay at Essendon?
It's an option. It's a real option. Yeah, but I'm also thinking about not. So.
And not would be
not doing anything.
Not being involved in a club.
Yep.
Putting on your budgie smugglers and sitting on a beach in the Mediterranean, or what? Just don't do anything.
Yeah, just don't do anything. But that's it's just on. Once the season's stopped and it's just reflection time. That's an option too.
Okay. And are you going to trade picks 2 and 3 to get Dangerfield?
I was just talking to Robbo before. A lot gets talked about. Let's first and foremost, Adelaide have got a terrific player that's contracted till the end of next year. And I think it all probably started when Roo was pretty honest on the radio. I think he might have said, well, maybe we might have to, I can't remember his exact words.
He's tradable, he said.
So everyone's going to jump on Paddy Dangerfield. There's no doubt. But he's contracted. We haven't spoken to him. And I think today Josh was talking about if Frawley does go, we would expect, I think everyone expects us to get the pick 3. That means we will have pick 2 and 3 if Frawley goes. So, would you talk to Paddy if he said, I'm leaving Adelaide?
Of course you would.
I reckon there'd be...
most clubs would probably talk.
Yeah, 10 Melbourne.
I'd trade you for him, mate.
They might take that as
That's true. They need a coach.
They might do that.
That'd be good.
Hey, it's been so great having you here on a Monday night, and not just us, but I think everybody's watching has learnt so much about coaching through your preparedness to be honest and speak frankly. So from all of us, we say thanks.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Well done.
I've enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
Like working with Ruzi. I'm happy I'm sitting next to Jared. That was a good change-up.
Was it? Yeah, it's been all right. It's been all right.
Mark Thompson with us this year on AFL 360. On the couch tonight, Alistair Clarkson, the Premiership coach, again fronts up. It's a Monday night couch with Mike Sheehan, Jared Healy and Jason Dunstall.
Opening dances of beauty. Now Kennedy
Hawks think about it down. Come on, come on.
The Monday Encore. Robbo, we've crunched the Hungry Jack's 360 seconds.
Can I get comfortable?
This is all the futures market.
I'm not.
What comes
Right,
next?
go.
Jared Waite out of Carlton.
North Melbourne.
Yep. Good for North.
Yep.
Where's it leave Carlton?
Without Jared Waite.
Yes.
Liam Jones, you got him down somewhere?
You can pop him in.
Liam Jones is in Jared Waite. I would say that Liam Jones is getting it up at Carlton, which is really interesting. Liam Jones.
What have you written about Carlton tomorrow?
I've written about Carlton tomorrow, Jared. Fancy asking me that. Where is Mick Malthouse? Where is Carlton? They talked today on radio about we're building from the bottom, which is rebuild. Where's Mick Malthouse in the rebuild? They go and get Liam Jones. Liam Jones can't get a game for 14th place Western Bulldogs who don't have a key forward, and Carlton are going out to invest in Liam Jones. Paddy Ryder.
Well, he's dead keen to get to Port Adelaide.
He's dead keen.
These are the things. I think, what's the deadline? October 16? These will get spoken about for the next 20 days.
Oh, it's boring me already.
Most of these deals will get done at the end. Because in the end, what do? Do you hold out and get nothing?
Don't know. No, you can't. Someone's going to have to blink.
Yeah, or just get the commensurate deal done. But these things always take until the deadline is approaching.
Pick 17 for Patrick Ryder doesn't sit comfortably with Essendon.
It's just a start.
I don't know what Port else has got.
Dane Beams. So the Lions are digging in at the moment, pick 4. But again, this will go to October 16th.
They're staked, they're flagged, mate. This is pick 4 or nothing. Simple as that. Someone told me today that they wanted pick 4 and Piers Hanley.
Oh, right.
I wouldn't swap Piers Hanley for Dane Beams anyway. And they want pick 4 as well, Collingwood. I understand what they want. He's a good player.
Yep.
James Frawley.
Collingwood. This is not really where they meant to be. There's a really interesting strategic few days coming up at Collingwood. Do they go the whole hog? Do they trade a bit more and load up on top 12 picks?
Yeah, there's a lot brewing.
When they've got them in the sweet spot, they're really interesting. James Frawley.
Yeah, well, he's a Collingwood, but I think Hawthorn's emerged big time.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Chris Scott told us on Friday. He hasn't told us.
Yep.
Well, we've been talking to him for 6 weeks. Why haven't you told us? Mitch Clark.
Maybe Geelong.
Yeah, that's emerged.
If you were choosing Collingwood or Geelong right now, and let's say that's what he is choosing, I think you'd pick Geelong, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Go and play next to Tom Hawkins.
Snappy.
Paddy Dangerfield. Now there's a vibe here.
Oh, but Paddy's staying in Adelaide. Simple as that.
Okay.
Collingwood were trying to get this deal to get Beams and stuff. Paddy, stay in Adelaide. Gold Coast, McKenna.
There's a sense of inevitability about this. I think the board will see the review tomorrow, and this has probably got 48 hours max to run. This guy McKenna's not going to survive, and that's going to be really harsh.
Yeah,
Mark Thompson?
Not good. No, I think he'll be Essendon. He made me take a breath when he said...
I don't think he'll be at Essendon.
Yeah, that's made me have a rethink. That's why I said I think he'll be at Essendon.
Could he be at Gold Coast?
He wouldn't have lied to you, Jared.
No, they mightn't have got to asking him yet.
But if the AFL went to Mark Thompson and said, Mark, we really need you, here's $1.7 million, we need you to coach Gold Coast, how can you say no?
That's it. The Hawks are the champions of 2014. We've had 10 DVDs given away. These are the images that the year will most be remembered for. We'll tidy up on 360 next.
Smile.
Thanks for joining us again.
Thanks, nerd.
Have you ever had a mohawk?
No. I'll shock you by just saying no.
Did you get drunk at any time?
No.
Have you ever streaked at 3 a.m. in the morning?
Never. You didn't actually have to add the 3 a.m. rider to it either.
It's time to
Best pickup?
Over the summer? I've got some food on me. I'm in new coats. Put the key in the bottom of the can and do that.
Yeah. How did he even? I'm probably a little bit embarrassed to say this, but I had a Nike swoosh in there.
So many people have asked me in the last 3 years, what's Robbo like? I give you thee.
Oh, God. I look like a tool, didn't I?
Driving home, I'm just sort of looking out the window, start scratching my ear, found another big clump of sand.
Did you know that they all sent over some Ken Hinkley underwear?
No, I didn't. I certainly didn't know that, Robbo, and I'm a bit worried about that more than the doona.
How are you, fellas?
I'm a nutcase. Kids these days are starting weights a lot earlier. You see when Rob came into the competition.
Wait, did I do it?
He probably couldn't lift his spoon to eat his dinner.
I probably got sacked about 30 games too late.
I was at home watching it on TV and I thought, what is this gag going to be? What is it? It's going to be something funny. And he walked in with his boxer shorts on.
It wasn't that funny.
My wife doesn't get me to get up and do it at the end of the bed or anything, but
Above all else, it's been fun. As we sign off for 2014, we thank our team who worked tirelessly behind the scenes to produce what hopefully you've enjoyed. To our editor, Daniel North, who has a great sense of creativity. His first year with us, and we are the richer for that. He's a Hawthorn supporter, so he's enjoyed putting this one together particularly. To our producers, Thomas Dullard, he's our cockeyed optimist.
Yeah, young fella, getting ahead of himself.
Young fella with a great future in the industry.
Yep.
To Tim Hodges, whose absolute dedication and drive makes this show what it is. We are indebted, as are all those who watch the show, to our team. Robbo,
see you, champ.
Have a good summer.
See you next year. See you, everyone.
On the couch with Jared Healy.